This is the info session for Aurora, the new Interfaith Living Learning Community at Virginia Tech. My name is Najla Mushrek. I'm the Program Director for Interfaith Leadership and Holistic Development out of the Dean of Students Office. I'm also the co-chair for the LLC Steering Committee that is putting together this idea for a new Living Learning Community. And some of the keywords for Aurora are interfaith engagement, reflection, collaborative learning, dialogue and cooperation, and common action for social change. So I'm going to explain a little bit about Aurora, but also about the Interfaith Initiative at Virginia Tech. You see how those two things are really interconnected, and we want them to be, right? Aurora is really coming from an initiative that is now on its second year, and it's very well aligned with that. So let's start thinking. The first definition for Aurora is a Virginia Tech community of students that might be religious, non-religious, spiritual, secular, and seekers. So there's no particular worldview. You're welcome to be in Aurora in any case. So these different people, they're coming together to explore the ways people make meaning and search for purpose in the world, to connect with one another, and to work for positive action in the world. You see that many times we'll talk about basically always three things: dialogue and cooperation, building relationships, and action. You see that action is one of the most important pieces of that. There's this idea that interfaith really activates, bridges across difference when we're acting together around things that we might disagree in everything, but there are shared values, and because of those shared values, we can come together and work together in the community. So just to start, very simply put, people make meaning and search for purpose in life in different ways. And we have to come to terms with that. There's not one way of make meaning and search for purpose in life. And we live in the most religiously diverse country in the world. So we absolutely need to learn how to live together with people that search for purpose and make meaning in different ways. If nothing else, just to live together. And we use a lot the language of worldview instead of religious group or religion because we want to be more inclusive. Interfaith is really a connection of people that might be religious or non-religious. So I really like this list that shows different ways people identify themselves, their worldviews. So I usually, when we have interfaith gatherings, we show this list really to help people find one or two ways they might describe their worldview. So if you're watching this, if you're in this info session, sometimes it's good to see it again. So what's mine again? And I know some people, they create news. I have heard new ones that are not in this list. And I think it's part of the human experience at this point. Just to talk a little bit about religious diversity, I was just telling you that the US is the most religiously diverse country in the world. And we see basically three strategies that people use to deal with religious diversity. The first one is just simply exclusion. We close the door. You're not welcome here. We tell people, come back to your country. They might be American, and we still say, come back to your country. You're not welcome here. The second one is assimilation. Oh, you're welcome. You just have to leave yourself at the door and be one of us. You have to transform yourself and be like us. So for me, not a good strategy, number one. Number two is not as good. It might look nice, but still, we're telling people we don't want you the way you are. And the third strategy, but also the hardest one, is pluralism. When we say to people, come as you are, we have only to commit to the common pact of citizenship. Boy, that's hard, because you're saying, I may not agree with you, but I'm committed to live with you and to find ways to live together. But honestly, for me, this is the only one that is viable, because number one and number two are not really strategies to live together. They're just strategies to either erase or erase in a different way. Right? So that's the main task that I think Aurora is trying to help Virginia Tech develop. How can we find ways to support college students to learn and to practice to live in a more pluralistic society? Just a little bit about pluralism. When we talk about pluralism, we're talking about a language of difference, but also of engagement, involvement, participation, dialogue. And pluralism is more than diversity. Diversity is a fact. We're different, we're together. Okay, that's a fact. But pluralism is the work that you have to do, right? The energetic engagement with diversity. And it's a lot of work. But I tend to think that that's worthy. That there's something about this that it's more than creating something better for me individually. Is really helping a society to move towards a more unified is not a good word, more, how can you find unity in diversity? That's, I think, the best way to put it. And pluralism is more than just tolerance. It's really how can we find some understanding across lines of difference. And we are seeing, not only in religious terms, but in political terms, all different ways why we all need to learn more about building understanding across lines of differences. Especially nowadays, everything is so polarized. We all need to learn more about that. And we have research clearly showing that when you're in college, this is such a key moment in your development, your personal development, that having opportunities for open dialogue around spiritual, religious, and secular identities, and learning how to cooperate, to do something together with people that you don't necessarily agree with. This really contributes to wellness, to all this process of finding yourself and laying out how you want your adulthood to be. So we have lots of data showing how positive this might be for students. And just some definitions, the way we are working with Interfaith at Virginia Tech. So the main definition is interfaith engagement is this process in which people from different existential worldviews and belief systems, they come together for three things: constructive dialogue, build relationships, and engage in common action. So I was talking about this in the beginning. You have to start with dialogue. There's no other way. After that, you want to develop relationships. But after that, the work is not done. Maybe the third part is the most important: activate bridges by working together. But you can't be there if you don't have dialogue and relationships. And I would say that in our interfaith engagement, in our interfaith initiative right now, we are on the verge of actually going to the community and act. We started with dialogues, building some relationships, and we absolutely need. And you see how Aurora has a focus on social change, action for social change, and it has to, because dialogue is not enough. It's important, but it's not enough. Finally, about interfaith, we have three factors that are really important to develop interfaith engagement. One is appreciative knowledge. We, as a society, we know so little about other worldviews. We have data showing that people in seminars know little about their own religion, let alone lay people about other people's religion. It's tragic. We know nothing as a society. So first of all, we need to learn. We need just to learn how people from, I don't know, Muslim groups, how they behave about this or that, what are their values, what are their practice, and so on and so forth. We just need to know more. And we need to know more in an attitude of openness, appreciative, looking for what it's beautiful in other worldviews. Not only what's different from mine, but really to be open to learn more. And we are doing this through dialogue since last year about that. The second thing, positive attitudes, is something so important. We see, for example, in so many cities receiving refugees, the difference when the city has a positive attitude and when the city doesn't have a positive attitude. So it's just a way of dealing with what's different. And third thing is interfaith relationships. One thing that's positive in the US, we have so many couples that are interfaith couples that this is starting to change the picture. When you love someone from a different religion, you can't keep thinking they're all evil. It's impossible because you love someone from that group. And when you have good friends from a different religion or worldview, this is also very strong. We do have research data showing that when you have at least one close friend from a different worldview, this opens you up for the person, for everybody in this person religion, but also for all the other religions. There is a very interesting effect that happens, that one person, if it's really close to you, really opens you up for the other. And you start to think that maybe they're not so others. They might be a we with us. Here at Tech, we have this new program. We're doing different things. Many of you actually participate, and I'm so happy to have you here today. We're doing interfaith dialogues with students, brown bag lunch with staff and faculty and community members. We do have a newsletter. The brand new thing is the new Interfaith student organization, Synergy, that was really found by students and led by students, what's really important. We do have common ground that it's interfaith leadership training. We're just completing the first cohort, and we will hear from students here that participate on all of this leadership opportunities. And the brand new thing on the program is Aurora, the Living Learning Community. You have here our website that you can connect with different things that we're doing. And then finally, there's the baby Aurora, this new Interfaith Living Learning Community that will start next fall. And the idea is, if you're a student at Virginia Tech, or if you're an incoming student, if you're a student coming to Virginia Tech, and you want a place, and you want people that are interested in meaningful and respectfully learn more and explore differences together, Aurora is the place for you. It's going to be located in Pritchett Hall in the 6th floor. The idea is really to be an inclusive community, but more than that, an affirmative community to all worldviews, being religious or non-religious. It's open to students in all academic majors, all class years, and all worldview identities. One thing that I would like to pull from, again, research data, we have this big research that came out, Ideals. They're studying a big group of universities across the United States for 4 years. And one of their conclusions was that more than 70% of the students they surveyed, they say, I am committed to bridging religious divides. This is an important thing for me. But only 32% say college gave them the needed skills. So it's very interesting. We do have a lot of people interested. They want to learn that, but college is not necessarily giving them enough knowledge and opportunity to learn how to develop skills and really interact with people of the diverse beliefs. So Aurora is also born from this idea that we can do more. We can do more in terms of helping college students to learn and to practice those skills. Okay, so that's goal number one for Aurora, having curricular and co-curricular elements that will help students to learn, so really have more religious literacy, but most of all, learn from one another. So this is why it gets a little bit personal as well, because people, they will share their own relationship with faith, with values, with morals and ethics. And you see, this is a community that we're thinking a lot about co-learning or collaboration in terms of building the life of the community itself. So one way we're addressing that, we're talking about participatory design. So in Aurora, students will also help to co-design the community because it's the first year, right? So for example, we're going to have a small interfaith prayer meditation space, and the rules to use the space will be co-created together, because this is a learning opportunity right in the beginning. So how should an interfaith prayer space be? How can we show in the space that we include and affirm all worldviews? and things like that. There's a lot that we will be doing together, but we do have some ideas of how the student experience may look like. This is not set in stone, but I want to give you some ideas. So weekly, we will have regularly scheduled weekly engagements that could take the form of community dinners. We could have speakers coming for talk, small group meetings as well. And reflection will be an important component. So from time to time, we'll be gathering to talk about the experiences. We will have a 1-credit course on interfaith leadership for social change. So you always have some commitments every week. Not all of them are mandatory, some are optional, but this is an important part of really building the life of a community. And a good part of this will be more social. This is why we have community dinners, for example. Doesn't need to be necessarily a lot of course load. That's not the case. It's really to make it more experiential in terms of building the community. So monthly-ish is, for example, going to experience other forms of worship or discussion in the region, especially after COVID is gone, right? We really want to make the trips in the region to know more about the religious landscape or non-religious landscape. Some local community engagement, having visiting speakers, connecting with academic faculty. We do have a very good Department of Religion and Culture here at Virginia Tech, and they do have a very good group of courses that talk about different religions. So we think about offer a menu that students will be able to pick. It's not mandatory, but it's strongly recommended. And courses that earn Pathways credits. So it might be really good for students. They earn their Pathways credits while also learning about other religions. And then every semester, we could have, for example, a community or campus service component. We're working with folks from VT Engage also about that. There is something that we could do more to engage the whole university community in some events. We could think about learning about or participating in other experiential learning opportunities, even study abroad, for example. So there are lots of things that may happen. One thing that we know for sure is that we can have interaction and collaboration with the leadership bodies, student-led leadership bodies that are happening already. One is Common Ground, Interfaith Leadership Training. The other one is Synergy, the Interfaith Collective at Virginia Tech. So I see these students really working as mentors for students that are starting their life in Aurora. Well, that's it from me. I do have 2 students here that I volunteer them to share their experiences a little bit. So the first one is Alyssa. Alyssa, would you like to share a little bit with us?
Yeah,
introduce
hi.
yourself.
Hi, yeah. I'm Alyssa. I'm a secular atheist, and I'm an English and professional technical writing major. Here at Tech, I am graduating in the spring. I became involved in Interfaith last fall, I believe, when it was first starting up. I got recruited into the advisory council as a student council member. Yeah. And it was great. There are some great leadership opportunities through Interfaith. Like I helped plan a dinner that was like a huge hit. I'm like only a student. I've helped like plan courses and like majors and stuff like that. I'm also part of the Common Ground, like the first Common Ground cohort. And it's great. You like learn so much about other people's faiths, and it's great for leadership opportunities. Like some people are bringing in speakers. Some people I'm helping make create this LLC by bringing in feedback. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. That's wonderful. And then we have Michelle as well. And would you like to introduce yourself, Michelle?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Michelle. I am a junior in biomedical engineering. I identify as Unitarian Universalist, And I started my engagement with Interfaith last spring with the Interfaith Dialogues. And I really enjoyed the community that Interfaith developed. It really kind of challenged my own beliefs and led me to a lot of meaningful connections that I had been unable to get anywhere else on campus. So with that, over the summer, me and a few other students really wanted to take the initiative to create a student interfaith program. And then out of that, we created Synergy, the VT Interfaith Collective. And I'm currently vice president of that organization. And with that, and also my engagement with the steering committee for the Aurora Living Learning community, I've really noticed how much the Virginia Tech Interfaith Initiative really values student input and how many opportunities as a student you will have to take leadership and be able to kind of set the course of how this community will shape to be. And your value or your input is definitely highly valued.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Michelle. I used to just, I'm kidding, but it's true. So here, if you like the opportunity of engaging in interfaith, you almost have to help build it. It's so new that it's really a lot of opportunities for you to help. And that was not planned, but I would like to invite Jack, if he feels well, just to talk about his experience sharing in a brown bag dialogue about his own worldview. Would you like? I know it was not planned.
Yeah, no problem, Najla. My name is Jack Buchanan, and I'm a junior studying civil engineering. And I'm a Protestant Christian, and I recently got to share on the brown bag, which is mostly for community and staff members, and also invited to for students. And so I was able to share about the Shabbat, which is the Jewish day of rest, and how that kind of became a day of rest now called the Sabbath for Christians. And I'm an RA over in Slusher Wing, and I am I have applied to potentially be an RA for the Aurora community. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. And just I'll say apply to Aurora. That's our advertisement plug. So applications are open until November 13 for current students, and they will open again for incoming students in January. You have the link there. And yeah, the plan for Interfaith, Aurora Interfaith Living Learning Community is really to get you to participate and to help us build this community around interfaith engagement, reflection, collaborative learning, dialogue, cooperation, and common action for social change. You're invited to be a part of this.